Hi everyone, it's Kasia from Tarot Map, and today I would like to speak to you about boredom. I find myself right now in not a boring state because I rarely feel actually bored by myself, but I'm finding myself bored with YouTube videos, with watching YouTube, with social media, with making videos, and I was thinking recently, even yesterday, and then this morning I saw a post on Instagram by somebody. I'm sorry, I forgot what channel that was. But I saw a post about what this person does when she feels a little bit bored. What decks would she reach for, and to like keep her tarot net going strong. And I thought exactly the same thing like a day before. So I thought I'm going to share uh, what decks I reach for when I achieve this kind of Four of Cups feeling that like everything is good, nothing bad is happening, but I kind of don't feel too inspired or kind of a little bit bored with YouTube and kind of repeating the same stuff. And I noticed for myself that I keep reaching for decks that I haven't used for a while or that are a little bit out there, so not your typical regular tarot decks. I do that I reach for those decks. So I reach for original decks and something which I have in my collection but maybe don't use that often. So for example, I noticed that I love playing with Holy Simple Tarot, which is a great deck if you like this simplistic artwork and spot on kind of little bit crazy vibe and with funky illustrations and cool colors. So this deck kind of gets my head out of the usual mode. So Holy Simple Tarot would be one of those decks. Then I also noticed that I loved to play with Saki Saki Tarot. So that's another one that also it's different, it's colorful, it's crazy. It gives me this vibe of, yeah, let's play, let's do something different. These guys have no heads. There's heaps of different colors. This one is, compared to Holy Simple Tarot, really busy backgrounds, busy figures. They totally weird, um, but beautiful colors as well. I reach for decks that awaken my inner artist and make me want to explore things and shake things up a little bit. Another deck that I really kind of felt drawn to, they don't have to always be those crazy decks like these two. I also went for Tarot Droga. So sometimes I feel this need for deep and deeper. So this is this amazing deck created by a Polish woman. She still has a few of those decks for sale, and they have awesome backgrounds. I've done a full flip through this deck. I will link it below and put the link to this video in my description box so you can check it out if you're interested in artwork like this. So these are major arcanas, and this is a Marseille style, or actually Pip style deck, because they not illustrated pips, but they also differently spread than typical Marseille decks. So these are wands, swords, cups, and pentacles are green. Where is the pentacles? Here they are. So also a deck which I love, but because I have so many different decks, I don't seem to be reaching for it that often. And when I do reach the kind of Four of Cups, boredom slash I've seen it all and I've done it all kind of feeling, I really want to play with decks that I haven't touched for a while and that are totally different. Another one is this Elemental Tarot, and this one is very shamanic, so I tend to go and ask some more kind of shamanic questions, like how can I connect to certain energies, or how can I explore certain stuff. And I look at the astrological associations, I look at colors and pictures. I try not to read the book with this one, but it's a great little book too, so sometimes I reach for it. And then I also, for example, reached recently for the Golden Tarot by Cat Black. Again, a deck which I also think it's so beautiful and so well done with this gilding and really easy to read. And this one is kind of, you know, Rider-Waite-Smith based, but with this European historical vibe to it, Christian heritage, which I feel very close to just because I was raised in a Catholic country. So, you know, this imagery and this depictions are very close to me. Kind of my psyche reads them very effortlessly. So this deck also gives me some kind of connection to maybe my heritage, which is lovely. Because the other thing which I do when I get kind of a little bit bored with everything, so I try to reach for decks that are original and different, but I also tend to find spreads or interesting questions that are not very personal, like, you know, what will I do tomorrow type of things, but that give me some deeper understanding. There's this video response going on YouTube now about the Ancestor Spread. So I have done the Ancestor Spread with the Ancestral Path Tarot. And it was very interesting because seriously, most of the cards that came up, I love some of the cards in this deck. Most of the cards that came up were kind of pointing towards connecting me to ancient Egypt. And trust me, I'm not very connected to Egypt, so it was interesting. There was a lot of powerful images like Queen of Staves, which is Isis. There was Horus, and the Emperor came up as well. A lot of Egyptian associations. And this deck could have been, you know, taken me to Arthurian times because there's King Arthur, there's Native American culture, and there is Egyptian and also like Japanese kind of Asian type culture. So no, that was Egypt for me. So, you know, I'm just trying to find a way to play with tarot that it's not necessarily connected to clients, because also I found the more clients I have, the more it becomes my work. The more I have to find a way to find it interesting for myself to use decks. And I love using decks. So, for example, I started using different divinationary methods, like this Playing Oracle Cards by Anna Cortez. And she's got very cool book to this deck. And also she has a very cool website, and you can listen to her podcasts. And I like her work. She's cool. And her and her father painted all these illustrations. I think he's died a few years ago, and she's kind of continuing the work he was doing with cards. And she's really good at it. So that's what I'm kind of, you know, like extending myself and reaching out, connecting different decks, trying to find which decks go with which decks, even via aesthetic reasons, but also via energetic reasons. I started playing with an animal themed deck recently with this Animal Totem Tarot, because I have it since maybe, I don't know, I had it for 2 years, let's say, or 1.5 years, and I haven't really played with it much. And it's a really beautiful tarot, and the book to this tarot is very cool. So if you like animals, I really like this deck. I love the coloring in it. It's quite vibrant, but not too bright. It's just gorgeous. And if you like animals, you probably will connect to this deck a lot. The lovers. So I have been doing some, like soul searching through animal alleys, doing some shamanic journeys with animal powers, and researching the animals and just checking them out. I kept reaching out for the little bit more shamanic decks, which was interesting. Maybe since the weavers came to me, it's just like everything took me back. So the wooden tarot, which is also a cool deck, but very strange. You have to really make your own associations with these images. And the major arcanas you get no problem. They're very kind of major arcanas. You will recognize the archetypes, but some of the minors are very strange. They different. So you have to connect, and also the chord cards are very weird. But I love this deck, and it goes really well with the Earthbound Oracle, which also it's very cool. And what I've been doing, I have been pulling the element cards, which it's got all the element cards, and then I have been pulling a tarot card and maybe another oracle card to see how my elemental balance is right now, and how can I improve it or work with it or just explore it, not even to improve it but just play with it. Another deck, which it's funny that I reached for it, was Mary L Tarot, and I trimmed mine and wrote down the names of the cards because I couldn't recognize half of them. And I have to tell you that this deck is a stunner. It's great, and I totally changed my attitude to it because I was a little bit taken aback by it most of the time, and I kind of had to use the book. And right now I don't know, it's like a regular deck with amazing artwork and very kind of powerful energetically as well. But I love reading it because it's very rich and deep, and the images are gorgeous. And I kind of feel like I connected to this deck on a deeper level than many times before when I used it, when I was kind of a little bit not scared of it, but I kind of didn't really give it a proper chance because it was a little bit always too high up for me or something, I couldn't connect. So Mary L was it's one of those decks also that when I feel a bit bored, I'm reaching for something which is challenging for me or gives me another idea. The same with the Syzygy Oracle or the Sacred Mandala Lenormand, and these ones are by Heather Mendel. And I got these decks from Swap at some point, and so the Lenormand is with kind of mandala, so we could say maybe chakras, but more mandalas. And it's just black with this silhouetted. So it's quite easy to read when you put a few cards up because it's very visible. This is a tree, this is heart, and this is fox, and these are birds, and this is garden, bouquet. So it's quite easy to read, and it's a little bit different despite the kind of busyness of the cards, because the other frames that are busy, and the mandalas and signs and numbers and card kind of symbols. But because of the simplicity of the pictures, they're very cool and easy to read. And I love to use this Lenormand with the Syzygy Oracle, but also with the with other tarot decks. And the Syzygy Oracle is based on Kabbalah, so you have all the Sephiras with little keyword, because that's an oracle deck. And then you have 22 major arcanas, but done with this cosmic kind of way. So you've got, so this would be 19, and so that would be to this the moon, I imagine, reflecting. So 21 would be judgment, I accomplish, realizing. So it's going one down, just because she started with 1 as full, not with 0. So 15 would be temperance, I transform, transmitting. That would be 17, so that would be a star, contemplating, and I meditate. So they're very kind of cosmic, approach, also connected to Kabbalistic letters. So this would be the full, that's why it's one. Initiating, I trust. That's the Emperor. Structuring, I organize. It's beautiful. The attending, I listen. And this is the Hierophant. Isn't it gorgeous? So yeah, so these are the cards that also, you know, they are a bit different. I don't know them that well. I don't know Kabbalah that well. So I keep kind of going, okay, I keep researching different letters. If I feel drawn to it, I keep just trying to figure out. And I love the, you know, just the look of it and different idea of depicting, and the keywords I find very nice. And she's got in the book also some cool questions. So yeah, these two decks are very, very cool to play with when I find myself a little bit bored. And also I noticed that I just go through my decks, touch them, you know, like see what I feel drawn to. And sometimes I just like to look at this beautiful artwork, like Robert M. Place's Tarot of Vampires, or the Vampire Tarot. It's just beautiful. I've read the book, it's very good. But if you know the Dracula story, there's so many levels to it and so many layers how you can understand it. So this deck also, I think it's just stunning. And I love to just draw some things, see how it fits archetypally into the story and then into my life. So basically I'm just trying to weird out a little bit, because just doing the regular IG challenges and I just got bored. So I have to have a little break. I have to play with myself in my tarot decks in a way that makes me kind of feel like I want to touch cards and do something interesting. I started researching chakras also, because I've done a course with Naisha Zian, and she has a little bit different elemental association to chakras, and I'm trying to like research what Anodea Judith was doing with the elements and chakras, which is kind of widely accepted system, and how Naisha is teaching it. And I kind of tend to agree with Naisha a lot, but I'm trying to figure it out also with crystals and how this how I experience it, you know. So it's not just based on intellectual level, but how I feel about it and how that sits with me and my own understanding of chakras and how I feel them. And I think that's a great way for all of us to check things, you know, what sits with us, because I think this system and probably the other system, they both work perfectly, but in which one we find ourselves more resonating with, that's a good question, and tarot can help to answer it. So that's me, bored of IG challenges and YouTube videos, and here I am making one about being bored with it. But I hope I showed you some cool decks and these two ways of like pushing myself and finding challenging decks, or decks that I don't know very well or don't understand so well, and trying to fit it into my, you know, way of seeing things. I think that's a cool way to stretch the boredom. And this will pass too, so it's okay. I can be bored for a few days. So I hope you are not bored and have a great weekend, and I speak to you soon. Bye.